Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I'm here today with another flip through video of one of my latest fairy journals. This is the Green Box Tree Fairy, and this is a journal that is inside of a hand-painted vintage book. It has two visible signatures that I've done with these mini bindings, and on the spine it says above the tops of the tallest trees, and we've got some vintage wallpaper here that just decorates the spine. So on the front we have like a large cabinet card style journal front, and our little Cicely Mary Barker fairy in here, the box tree fairy, and I've used 4 bronze brads to just kind of give this a little bit of a nice what's the word I'm looking for? Just, I guess, decoration, really. And you'll see on the spine I've used a bronze eyelet, and this is the beautiful spine dangle. I did not hold out on the beads that I am giving you. I went deep into my jewelry making bead collection that I've had for over a decade now, and I just decided like this is a really lovely use for them. So there are semi-precious stones, lots of glass lampwork beads, you know, metal findings, wood carvings, shell beads, Swarovski crystals, all sorts of fun things, little charms of mushrooms and leaves. So yeah, lots of fun there. And then on back, I added a decoupage on the back of this leaf, and it says Night in the Fairy Kingdom. And you'll see the sparkliness all over. This is the fairy dust that I've applied to this book. The binding enclosure is actually here on the back of this eyelet, and this is a silk cord that I did sort of a weaving stitch over with my sewing machine, so it looks really fun, and like it's like this tealy green that's really shiny and nice, but it looks really fun and kind of nature bound. Hopefully you can see the stitching over it. And you'll see on the side here we have lots of leaves hanging out. There are hand beaded charms that I've made on these pins, and they're on there with bulb pins, and they're a lot of fun. So let's jump into this journal. So let's put that up here. Okay. So when you open this journal, I have kind of done the same thing with this whole collection, and then I want to sort of make it a special little story. So when you open it up, you'll see this beautiful paper here, and inside this pocket we have a bird field guide page. These are the shrikes, and we have a 1950s vintage photo that I've edited here. This is an authentic photo, so you can see it's the shiny, it's real paper, it's the real photo, but I've added some fairy wings to these little girls. Aren't they just adorable? And then here at the bottom, I believe that it was no accident that I came to the gates of the fairy realm. The spines are beautiful paper cover. This is actually Amity Bloom paper. The first page here is one of my eco-dyed papers that I've done. It's on a construction paper with rose petals, and I've stitched leaves all to the side here. This is the fairy paper that goes throughout this whole series of journals. It's this beautiful iridescent sparkly paper, and it's locally made, and it shines iridescent purple, in this case green and purple, and there are a few different colors of this that you may see a little bit more in the journal. This is from a fairy coloring book, and I've added some sequins at the top, and it just tucks into this page, and this is actually a book page from Thumbelina of her sleeping in this walnut husk, and there's some nice mushrooms in the back. Just a little collage of a fun washi tape. And this is just some beautiful paper that I love, with the foxes and squirrels and deer and mushrooms. It's everything foresty and lovely, and on the back it's bunnies and squirrels. Just an inspiring piece of scrapbook paper. This is a nice green paper with some of my own hand-dyed batik fabric down the side, and has one of those little beaded head pin charms. And then a page of the beautiful Edith Holden with her butterflies and daisies. And on back, this is the June page from the Country Diary. And then we have a motivation tarot card from the Fairy Tarot here on this brown paper. And then this is another Cicely Mary Barker postcard. This is, which fairy? The Snowdrop Fairy. And then a little butterfly here. And then this is from Cicely Mary Barker Ferriopolis book, and this is like a little letter. So this is you can fold it up, and it's to her friend, dearest Dot in Sussex, and it continues on back. And then the top here we have a pocket, and so this is just a beautiful book page from a book called Vancouver is a Garden, I believe, and it's just a beautiful marigold and geranium. And then this is a lovely little snippet from a fairy legend book. The world into which I have looked is so fair a place that I cannot imagine it torn by strife. The very name by which the fairy races are often known in the lands above, the people of peace, suggests that this is an important aspect of their nature. I won't continue. I'll leave that to whomever may pick up this journal. And this is a journal tag that I made from this beautiful image. Rosa complicata has a little bee there too. So that's a nice big journal tag. And then on back here, we've backed this with some vintage wallpaper and made a pocket with this beautiful piece of a plant book of plates, and it's just a beautiful plate. And inside we have a little journal card with these adorable little fairies. And this is some more eco-printed, my eco-printed paper. You can see the flowers there. And then this is just a nice bit of purple paper on this little bit. This is the Song of the Rose Bay Willow Herb Fairy. And some tea-dyed vintage lace on cabbage-dyed paper. And this little rose border page with some blue. It's just a lovely piece of paper. More cabbage-dyed paper. And then a little pocket here. And in behind we have some cute little illustrations of field mice. Or, yeah, little field mice. And then this is a little tag that has another little tag inside. And so that just goes like that. And then this is hawk owl illustrations, more cabbage dyed paper. And then this is one of my skyline border pages, and it says the Wishing Fairy. And it's this lovely green paper. We have a little fairy up here and a little leaf and some butterfly wings. This is some flower petals. And then this is a little sleeping fairy at the center of this signature. And then more of my skyline border here. We have a little frog on a mushroom, some pine, and a little bee, and a blue flower, and a fairy, and a little squirrel, and some more florals. And then we have a little botanical pocket on cabbage dyed paper with this beautiful fabric here on the side, and another beaded head pin. And this is a little card that I modified, so it kind of pops up from our writing space. And on back, if you've ever had a bad case of the giggles, the kind you get for no reason at all and just can't seem to stop, there may be a fairy whispering in your ear. Laughter is good for the soul, and fairies know just when you need some cheering up. And more of those beautiful hawks and hawk owls and field mice, and some stenciling, cabbage dyed paper, and just a little scraplet of vintage wallpaper. More cabbage dyed paper, agrimony. These are Cicely Mary Barker fairies. Horned Poppy Fairy, the Song of the Horned Poppy Fairy. This is some eco dyed paper. And then more vintage gift wrapped paper. And this is a pocket of a squirrel with these lovely fairies having a little chat. And inside, this is a beautiful tag made from this vintage book page of a hummingbird. And that just tucks in there. And over here we have this beautiful nighttime fairy and flowers back here. And then this is like a rooster up here, and this little fairy sneaking down here through the flowers. This is by Warwick Goebel, a noted fairy art creator. And this is some more brown paper with a little hedgehog and a dandelion stamp there. And this is some Edith Holden, Black Bryony, Wild Service Tree. Apparently I'm reading things backwards right now. Yellow Iris, more Edith Holden. And then this is a little vintage plant card and some green paper. And on this side we have a fabric flip of this beautiful Cicely Mary Barker fabric. And underneath another bit, you can see the little fairies and the daisies in here. a bit of fabric. And then we have this beautiful scrapbook paper again with the forest creatures there. And then this is just some vintage floral here of roses and rose hips. And it's on that fairy paper. And over here, this is a tag that I made with some vintage florals and some spraying of distress oxide. And this is my hand spun yarn up here. And this is a lovely print of actually the leaves from roses on construction paper. And then this is a pocket from a Cicely Mary Barker book, and inside, well, back here we see a cute little cottagey type building, and we have a postcard of the Holly Fairy, and then this cute little journal card of these bunnies and fairies jumping on a bed. And now we're at the center of the two signatures, and you can see that beautiful paper in the center there. And I love this image. This is just a painted book page, but I loved this tree leaf kind of guy. Isn't he just precious? I love that image. And then here we just have some vintage fabric on a blue page. And this is from a coloring book page about fairies, and it has a secret pocket up top with this Tuscany Superb tag. It's from a beautiful vintage rose book. And on this side, we have this little cutie. This is a little butterfly style fairy and a little Cicely Mary Barker journal snippet page with a bird. And inside another of her postcards of the cowslip fairy. Cabbage dyed paper with a fabric tab. And this is just a beautiful bit of fairy art, and it has a little tab as well, and you can pull this out, which is a little calendar of June documenting Midsummer's Eve, and this is from the Cicely Mary Barker journal. It just tucks back on in there, just like a little secret place. And then just a little collage of some tea-dyed batik paper and some floral. This is a little fairy wing fabric. And then a cabbage-dyed botanical stationery page. More Edith Holden. And a little stamp of some mice sitting underneath a toadstool. And a little cluster style pocket, and inside we have this tag that has a pocket, so it has writing space on back, and then it has like this long kind of bookmark inside that's just a little collage of book page that's been stitched, and that tucks right on inside there. And this is just a beautiful page. It flips out from a fairy book. Fairies sort of flying to a castle, and then these are some children that are a part of that book as well, that are they're part of the story of these fairies, and some painted space for writing. And this is just a rusty paper clip holding this very large journal card, and this is this woman is standing, this is a beautiful piece of fairy art in like a ring of little fairies here, a fairy ring. And it's just backed with packaging paper on some cabbage dyed ledger. And some stenciling on this side of the ledger. This is from a field guide of flowers, and it's a little tuck spot there, a little pocket for an Amity Bloom index card with a tab. And then the center of the signature is these two lovely fairies. And this side is another of those field guide pages, and another lovely Amity Bloom index card with a tab. And on this side we have more of that ledger that's been cabbage dyed, and clipped over the edge we have this, which is like a booklet. So these are a bunch of fairies just like kind of dancing in these leaves. It's a very fall feeling little booklet, and you open it up and it just has a bunch of my different random dyed papers, avocado and cabbage. And it's just a fun little mini notebook that's a part of the journal. So that just goes on the side there, and it's held on with a little rusty paper clip. And voila. And this is a poem from a book, Toadstools. It's not a bit windy, it's not a bit wet, the sky is as sunny as summer, and yet little umbrellas are everywhere spread, pink ones and brown ones and orange and red. I can't see the folks who are hidden below. I've peeped and I've peeped round the edges, but no, they hold their umbrellas so tight and so close that nothing shows under, not even a nose. Elizabeth Fleming. And it's got these little mushroom people here and these little fairies. And on this side I've got some vintage gift wrap in this beautiful pansy. I love these pages. I used them throughout this series of this collection of journals, and I don't have any more left. I'm very sad. And a little pocket down here with a little fairy. And this is a little card that I made. It says, "The many tales I have heard of fairies," and has a little mushroom with a frog and a snail on top. This is a digital, I think, from Crafty Cat USA. And then it opens up to this little pop-out kind of page for writing. And then here we have some bleeding heart on a green page with a little bit of washi tape up top. And then just a fun little bit of my hand spun yarn has been added on here. And this is more Edith Holden. And the June page of Edith Holden's diary. And then more Cabbage Dye Botanical, another fairy wing page. And this is a cute little book page with these little butterfly style fairies and this little guy carrying this mushroom. Some botanicals and cabbage dye paper. This is from a family like photo album type book, and I love these little illustrations that were in it. This little orange headed little person and the florals, and I've put a fairy down here. And then this is a little crinkly journal card with a circular image from a fairy book, and then some botanical and butterfly and bird kind of little stick downs. And this says forest. Done some stenciling of a leaf on this blue page. This is a painted page with some botanicals and some fabric on the side with one of my beaded head pins. And this is a Thomas Hood poem called The Dream Fairy. And then we've reached the back. So we have a little pocket here. It says Magical Touch That Glows. And inside we have another field guide page. This is the Honey Creepers, Vireos. Yeah, Honey Creeper and Vireos, and then a big orange green butterfly that you could use as a journal card or for anything else that you may like. So just a nice little bureau style pocket there. And we have reached the end of this magical little journal in Fairyland, and I hope you enjoyed this one. So this is the Green Box Tree Fairy journal, and it will be in my Etsy shop. If you're seeing this video, it's probably already there, and if not, it will be there shortly. So thank you for hanging out with me, and you can find links to my shop and other things about me down below in the description box. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.